presidency, John Dramani Mahama, and not for pen or actual letter, since the end of Hakoma Air Council of State, and Governor Mutoni Funuso, no, so only a year Chief Justice in Fibo. If you say, I don't say, a engineer the letter of Victoria say, a master some arrest air from our point, it's near Momu, any in corruption air affairs. To see and say, Cochimoba, and say about the Chief Justice out a former government in appointing now. Conflict of interest being remember what you do saying meeting mammy Chief Justice her leadership to kono esaba edif ho na Mahama January Chief Justice be serious anyhow meeting prosecute former appointees just involved in corrupt affairs into the Mahama for the petition hakoma CJ updates are if you ho eba yanko enyekuti embra.
Up next, President John Dramani Mahama has forwarded 3 petitions for the removal of the Chief Justice to the Council of State, marking the beginning of a constitutional process to remove the Chief Justice or otherwise. And we'll tell you exactly what the procedure is as enshrined in the Constitution and what is to be expected in the coming days. And this is one that it's not going to be the first of its kind. We've seen previous instances where the former president Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo was petitioned by ASEPA, and other groups for the removal of the then Chief Justice Ninyabwa. And now we also do know that even prior to President John Mahama becoming president, the former president Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo had been petitioned by Professor Kweku Asare to have the Chief Justice removed. But then again, we understand there's been 3 different petitions right now. That's the information we're getting. This is the detail for a statement that came through from the presidency earlier today. My colleague Dennis Baberi-Wadam is going to be joining me in a bit. But here's what we do know, that 3 petitions President Mahama has received from various persons seeking the removal of the Chief Justice. Now, the president, and this is a statement that was signed by Phyllis Kwachofosu, the president has forwarded the 3 petitions to the Council of State to commence the consultation process mandated by Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution. And that is the details as we have it now, and also what the statement by the spokesperson to the president and the Minister for Government Communications, Felix Kwachofosu, Member of Parliament for the Brasibo-Kwamankese constituency, issued a statement earlier today. And here are the details as we have it. In fact, it came through just about 2 hours ago, so it's pretty fresh on the plate. Now, the information we're getting, that some 3 petitions from various persons seeking the removal of the Chief Justice, her ladyship Justice Geto Tokonu. The president has forwarded the 3 petitions to the Council of State to commence the consultation process mandated by Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. So that is the information we're getting right now from the presidency. And this is one that we're keeping an eye on and how things are playing out right now here on Ghana Tonight. But let me just remind you as well that this is an issue that really the many people who have been watching how things have been playing out even after the elections and asking questions about what the way forward will be, especially in the matter of the Chief Justice. Dennis Baberi-Wadam, Esquire, is my colleague. He's joining us in the studio right now. Dennis, now the details of this statement gives pointers of what is going to be happening in the coming days. But let's put it in context. What should we be expecting going forward?
Well, so now that we have been told that the president has forwarded these petitions to the Council of States to start the process of consultation, it indicates that clearly, first of all, there are some petitions before that have been sent to the president in respect of removal of the Chief Justice. Now, typically what happens when it comes to the removal of justices of the superior courts in general will be that, first of all, the president will forward that petition to the Chief Justice, who will determine whether there's a case to be heard, what we usually refer to as a prima facie case. However, when it comes to the Chief Justice herself, because a petition cannot be forwarded to herself to determine whether there's a case to be made against her, the President typically will do that in consultation with the Council of State, who constitute a committee. It is that committee which will look into the matter to see if there's a case to be heard, and then they will take it from there.
I see.
Now, that committee is supposed to be comprised of 2 Supreme Court justices and then 3 other persons who are not supposed to be members of the Council of State. They are not supposed to be lawyers, and they're not supposed to be MPs.
Right.
So together, that committee, after first determining whether there's a case to be heard, then they begin to go into the matter itself to determine the merit of it. Thereafter, they make recommendations, and then the president.
If you hold position, a book in questions are gonna for Abisa, but they just a bit if you be balance no matter in some higher cost of energy ever.
President is bound by the recommendations of that particular, I mean, the recommendations made by members of this committee. Now, it is instructive to know that we've got to this point because when you look at the construction in the Constitution, it was not too clear what the procedure should be for the removal of the Chief Justice herself, because like I explained, it gave indication that in the case of superior courts of the justice of the superior courts, it was the case that the petition will be forwarded to the Chief Justice.
Right.
However, in the case of the Chief Justice, there seemed to be some confusion as to what the procedure should be. And that's how come the Supreme Court used the opportunity in the case of Frank Ejechum versus Attorney General to give us a clear indication as to how we should progress. So the procedure that is now used, or that will be used in this particular instance, will be that which was defined by the Supreme Court itself in the case of Frank Ejechum versus the Attorney General.
I see. Now, what I see in there is that let's dwell a bit more on the first point on what's on the screen.
Yeah.
That if there's a prima facie case, a committee.
Yes.
That is after this has been referred to the Council of State. So we're on the second stage of this process. Let's flip back to the earlier point. So the president has received a petition from these 3 individuals.
Yes, that can be implied from the letter we get from the presidency.
Perfect. So this box has been ticked.
Ticked already, yes.
Then the second point is the president has now forwarded this to the Council of State.
Yes.
To
so that
determine
means
whether
that
there's a prima facie case.
the consultation process has begun, because when you read the letter, it indicated that it is the beginning of the consultation process. What it means is that with that consultation, a committee will be set up. It is that committee which will now determine whether there's a prima facie case.
I see. And the constitution of this 3 committee, let's flip to the next. It is defined in 146.
You will find all of that in 146.
And they are not supposed to be lawyers or MPs.
They are not supposed to be lawyers. They are not supposed to be MPs. They are not supposed to be Council of State. Because mind you, it is the president in consultation with the Council of State that will form this committee.
So then the president has a discretion to choose
from
amongst all other individuals who are Ghanaians, apart from MPs, no lawyers, or members of the Council of State.
To be on this particular committee and to do the job. What is instructive is that at the end of the day, whatever recommendations that the committee would come out with, then the president would have to act by that. However, when you look at
the president chooses, that's not what I understand. So the president chooses these 3 individuals.
Yes. Together with the committee, the Council of State. Yes.
Okay.
But like I was saying, when you read the full complement of Article 146, you would find that along the line, when such a petition is brought against either a justice of the Superior Court or even the Chief Justice, as in this case, the president may, by a warrant, suspend the Chief Justice.
I see.
So that is also part of the law as we have it. So when you look at it closely, it is one that the president has the power to exercise. But as we stand now, we are still at the point where the president has forwarded the petitions to the Council of State for that consultation process to begin. Thereafter, then we can see what next. But what needs to be put on record and what will be the turning point for this will be whether or not this committee will make a case out of these petitions or not.
I see. And you're saying that the president still has the power to, for instance, suspend the Chief Justice while this whole process is ongoing?
Yeah, that's what the law says.
And this is it?
Yes, so that should be in, I think, 1466 or 7, thereabout, one of them. So if you can move to that particular provision, you'll find that the Constitution actually gives the president that power to... Okay, let's look at the 8th.
So this, I see, all proceedings,
yes, proceedings should be held in camera and all that. And that's the more reason why when some of these petitions come, it's very difficult for the media to be able to put the details out there.
Precisely. Because it's supposed to be held in camera. And the justice or chairman against whom the petition is made is entitled to be heard in his or her defense, in this instance, by himself or herself or by a lawyer.
Yes.
Or other expert of his choice or her choice.
It's typically going to take the shape of you being accused of a wrongdoing, and then there's supposed to be a tribunal which is going to sit on your matter. So in that respect, you'll be heard in your defense. You can either do so by yourself or by a lawyer and all that. So to go through all that process, and eventually the recommendations will be made.
I see. Now let's flip to the 7.7, because the committee appointed under clause 6 of this article shall inquire into the petition and recommend to the president whether the chief justice ought to be removed from office. So it is the burden of this 3-member committee that would now determine the fate of the chief justice going forward. Either be these petitions should be dismissed or considered, for that matter.
Okay, so
interesting.
So the point I was making, so when you look at 14610A, where it talks about where a petition has been referred to the committee under this article, the president may. A says that in the case of a chief justice, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State, again, by warrant signed by him, suspend the chief justice. Where it has to do with other justice of the Superior Court or a chairman of a regional tribunal, acting in accordance with the advice of the Judicial Council, suspend that justice or that chairman of the regional tribunal. So that can be found at in Article 14610A and B in respect of the power of the president to suspend whilst this proceeding or a petition is brought against any of these persons that we have talked about, Alfred.
I see. So that's what is on the screen now.
Yes.
Interesting. So this we can find the details of. But then again, this is not the only legal matter we're having to deal with today. Now, coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, we go straight into the matters related to that's Kwabena Dubois. That's coming up next here on Ghana Tonight. The former CEO of the National Signals Bureau, the minority in Parliament, they've raised concerns with the recent arrest of the former government officials.
Therefore, NATF and TCG and also the table now to some air shaking. But end of this month, to be for and answer door and no air as I'm said, aha, air and a tip, so we shop and my friend.